You're standing in a cold stone courtyard, and a man you've never met is holding out a wax tablet and a stylus. He tells you to repeat 5 Latin words after him. You don't know it yet, but you're about to swear away your legal right to your own body. Ui, vincere, verberare, feroque necari, to be burned, to be bound, to be beaten, to be killed by the sword, and to mean it. You're not a slave. You're not a criminal. You just signed up for this. And in about 4 hours, you're going to wish you hadn't. Forget what the movies told you. You didn't get kidnapped into this. Most gladiators in the late Republic and early Empire were volunteers. Free men called auctorati who sold themselves into the profession because it paid, or because they'd run out of better options. The building you just walked into is called a ludus, part barracks, part prison, part gym. The door locks from the outside. Your new home has a name, a number, and bars on the windows, and the man who owns the contract on your life is called the Lannister. He is not your friend. He is a businessman, and you are inventory that occasionally bleeds money instead of making it. Here's the part that should worry you. The Lannister doesn't actually want you dead. A trained gladiator took months, sometimes years, to build. You're expensive. That should be comforting. It isn't, because it just means the next 10 hours of your life are designed to keep you exactly alive enough to be useful, and not 1 ounce more comfortable than that. And the training hasn't even started yet. You'd think an elite fighter eats meat. You'd be wrong. Gladiators were nicknamed horderii, barley men, because their diet was built almost entirely around grains, beans, and dried fruit. Bone analysis from gladiator graveyards in Ephesus shows diets extremely heavy in barley and legumes, with meat as an occasional guest star, not the main course. There's a reason for that, and it's not a mistake. A layer of subcutaneous fat sits on top of your muscle, and in an arena where the entire audience needs to see a wound to cheer for it, a padded layer of fat that bleeds dramatically without immediately hitting anything vital is a survival feature, not a flaw. You're not just training to fight. You're being built into a body that puts on a good show while dying slowly instead of quickly. Somewhere in the corner of the mess hall, someone's mixing wood ash into a drink. That's not a punishment. That's calcium supplementation, bone strengthening, and it's about to become your favorite part of the day, because everything else on the schedule hurts more. Quick gut check before we keep going. Barley mush and bean stew for every meal, or would you rather skip the food and just fight hungry? Drop your pick. Your trainer is called a doctor, not a physician, a drill instructor, and your first weapon isn't a sword. It's a wooden practice sword called a rudis, and you're going to spend weeks hitting a wooden post called a palace before anyone lets you near a real blade. Remember the oath? Beaten. This is what that word actually meant on a Tuesday. Doctors carried rods and whips specifically to correct your form mid-drill, and the training was modeled loosely on legionary conditioning, except a legionary's job was to survive a battlefield. Yours is to survive a battlefield built for entertainment, which comes with a rule the army never had to follow. Never let the fight look boring. You'll specialize into a fighting style, maybe Mamillo, heavy shield and short sword, or retiarius, net and trident, barely armored, built for speed over protection. Each style has a natural counterstyle, on purpose. The people running this aren't just training fighters. They're casting matchups. You've survived the diet, the drills, the doctor's rod. None of that is the part that kills you. That part's still 4 chapters away. Here's the detail that should actually scare you more than the sword. Your opponent is not the only thing you have to survive today. The crowd is. A Roman audience wasn't there to watch you win. It was there to watch you perform virtues. Courage, composure, the willingness to face death without flinching. And it could tell the difference between a fighter who was genuinely brave and one who was just terrified in a way that looked similar for a few seconds. Cowardice got booed. A good death got cheered louder than most wins. The editor, the wealthy sponsor footing the bill for the games, sat close enough to make the final call on whether a defeated fighter lived or died, and he was reading the crowd the entire time to decide. What is well documented is that the crowd's noise was a real input into whether you got to keep breathing, not just background atmosphere. So you're not just fighting a person with a trident. You're performing bravery convincingly enough to 40,000 strangers that if you lose, they ask for your life anyway. If your life depended on convincing a stadium you weren't scared, even though you absolutely were, what's your move? Poker face, trash talk, or just go silent? Pick one. If your palms are sweating a little, hit subscribe. It means you'll be standing in the tunnel with us for the next one too. The night before a fight, gladiators were given a lavish banquet called the Cena Libera, a free dinner, open to the public, where anyone could come watch you eat. Some fighters used it to make peace with people. Some used it to write out what amounted to a will. And some, according to Roman sources, ate like it was their last meal, because there was a real chance it was. This is the turning point. Up to now, everything's been preparation, diet, drills, discipline. Tonight, for the first time, it's real, and there's an audience watching you process that fact in real time. Whatever you actually feel, tonight you also have to perform feeling it correctly, because word gets around about who cracked at the Cena Libera, and the crowd tomorrow might already have heard. You don't sleep much. Nobody does. Morning brings the oath reviewed one more time, weapons inspection, and a procession into the arena called the pompa. Trumpets, banners, the works. This is the last time you'll be seen as a performer instead of a combatant. The morning card usually opened with something lighter, wild animal hunts, executions of condemned criminals, to warm the crowd up. You're not on until the crowd's already primed, already loud, already decided roughly what kind of day this is. Then someone hands you your weapon for real, and the gate in front of you, the one from the beginning, starts to move. This is it. Everything since the oath was building to the next 90 seconds. Fights were often shorter than you'd think, minutes, not the drawn-out spectacles films suggest, because trained fighters were expensive, and prolonged bouts risked losing two valuable assets instead of managing the loss of one. That's cold comfort when you're the asset in question. Here's the number that should genuinely surprise you. Modern analysis of gladiator gravestones and inscriptions suggests the death rate per individual bout was lower than the popular image implies. Plenty of fights ended in a draw or a defeated fighter being spared, not a kill. But lower than you assumed is not the same as safe. You're still trading blows with someone whose job, like yours, is to make the crowd believe they might actually kill you. Because if it doesn't look real, nobody cheers, and if nobody cheers, the editor has no reason to spare the loser. You get your opening. You take it, or you don't. Either way, in the next few seconds 40,000 people decide, out loud, whether you get to walk out of this arena a professional with a paycheck, or a name on a headstone somebody pays a stonecutter to carve, sometimes bought and paid for by the very brotherhood of fighters who trained beside you. That's the trade you signed up for the moment you said 5 words in a cold courtyard. Ui, vincere, verberari, feroque necari. You wouldn't last one day. If you want the next, you wouldn't last a day as, episode the second it drops, subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got a few more that are even worse than this one. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.